Have you ever met someone and no matter what you do, they just won't leave your mind? You can try to forget, to move on, but something inside keeps pulling you back. What if I told you the universe is trying to tell you something through that thought, through that feeling? Today, I'm going to reveal what it really means when a woman stays on your mind and why it's far more than just a passing thought. Have you ever experienced the strange, almost haunting feeling of someone's presence lingering in your mind long after they've left your life? Maybe it's the way she laughed at a joke that wasn't even that funny, or the way she carried herself with a quiet confidence that seemed to light up everything around her. You try to push the thoughts away, convince yourself they are just random memories, but no matter how hard you try, her face, her voice, even the smallest gestures keep returning to your mind. And in those moments, you feel a strange mix of longing, curiosity, and confusion, almost as if the universe itself is nudging you, trying to whisper something that you aren't yet ready to hear. This is the point where most people stop and wonder, why can't I forget her? Why does my mind refuse to release her presence? And that's exactly where the universe begins its work. Because when a woman stays on your mind, it is never just a coincidence. It is never a simple echo of a past encounter. There is a reason, a purpose, a message hidden in that repetition, waiting to be uncovered by someone willing to pause, listen, and reflect. It begins with the realization that our minds and hearts are more connected to the unseen world than we often believe. Thoughts are not merely mental noise, they are signals, vibrations, echoes of something deeper. When she lingers in your mind, the universe is not simply teasing you. It is inviting you into a conversation, a dialogue that exists beyond words. You may try to distract yourself with work, social engagements, or other obligations, but there she is again, a recurring presence that refuses to be ignored. There is a subtle, almost imperceptible power in that recurrence, a gentle insistence that something within you is being called to attention. And often it is not about her at all. It is about what she represents, the qualities she embodies, the lessons her presence brings, and the parts of your own heart that you have yet to acknowledge. This feeling at first may seem uncomfortable, even frustrating. You might ask yourself why your mind is fixated, why the memories are so vivid, why you cannot escape them. And yet, that discomfort is precisely what makes this experience transformative. The universe has a curious way of making us notice what we usually overlook, drawing our attention to what we need to see rather than what we want to see. It is in these moments of mental recurrence that we begin to question not just who she is to us, but who we are to ourselves. Are we longing for a connection, a validation, a dream that we have buried? Or is it something else entirely, a call to recognize our own desires, fears, or unresolved emotions? Each time her image appears, each time her laugh echoes in your mind, the universe is planting a seed of reflection, challenging you to look inward and understand why she matters in ways that go beyond the superficial. The beauty of this experience is in the tension it creates between resistance and curiosity. On one hand, you may resist, telling yourself it is silly, that life must go on, that you must forget her to move forward. And yet the persistence of her presence, the way she keeps returning in fleeting thoughts and quiet reminders, compels you to lean into that curiosity. It asks you to pause, to reflect, and to open a space in your heart that is receptive to understanding rather than judgment. It is in that space, in that delicate tension between wanting to let go and feeling compelled to notice, that the true message of the universe begins to reveal itself, When a woman stays on your mind, it is rarely just about her as an individual. It is about what she reflects within you. Our minds have a way of holding on to the things that resonate with our deepest values, even if we are not consciously aware of it. Every thought, every fleeting image, every memory that comes uninvited is like a mirror, showing us not just who she is, but who we are and who we aspire to become. It's fascinating how the human heart operates. We often think we are drawn to people randomly, but in truth, we are drawn to qualities, ideals, and energies that speak to something fundamental inside us. Perhaps it is her courage, her grace, her laughter that seems to carry light in even the darkest of rooms. Or maybe it is her authenticity, the way she refuses to compromise who she is for the world's approval. Whatever it is, the universe is showing you through your recurring thoughts a reflection of what you value, what you desire, and even what you may be missing in your own life. It is in these reflections that we often begin to uncover truths about ourselves that we have avoided. You might realize that the traits she embodies are traits you secretly admire, qualities you long to cultivate within yourself, or experiences you hope to invite into your life. When your mind keeps returning to her, it's not always a call to pursue, not always a sign of romantic destiny. It can be a signal from the universe to pay attention to what matters to you on a deeper, more authentic level. Perhaps you have been seeking courage in your own decisions, or compassion in your own relationships, or clarity in your own purpose, and seeing her, thinking of her, awakens that yearning. The mind has a subtle, almost poetic way of showing us where our values lie, and the universe often chooses people as symbols to guide us, teaching us lessons in the language of emotions rather than logic. What makes this even more profound is how it forces self-exploration. When you ask yourself why you are captivated, why her presence lingers, you begin to trace the origin of your fascination, not just to her actions, but to your own desires. You start to notice the qualities you respect, the standards you hold for yourself, the dreams you've perhaps hidden away because life seemed to demand practicality over passion. And in noticing these, the universe allows you to become more conscious of your own values. The woman in your mind becomes a compass, pointing toward aspects of yourself that you need to acknowledge, nurture, or express more fully. It's an invitation to introspection, to see beyond surface-level attraction, to explore the essence of what matters to you in your life and in your connections with others. There is a certain beauty in this process because it shows that our hearts are always teaching us, even when we are unaware. Each lingering thought, each memory that refuses to fade, is a signal to examine not just who we are drawn to, but why. It is about learning to differentiate between fleeting infatuation and meaningful resonance, between temporary desire and enduring values. By observing what qualities compel your mind to revisit her, you begin to uncover patterns, truths, and aspirations within yourself that might otherwise have remained hidden. And the deeper you look, the more you understand that your attraction, your fixation, and even your restless thoughts are not distractions. They are profound messages about who you are, what you cherish, and the life you are slowly shaping through the choices you make. When a woman stays on your mind, it is not always a reflection of conscious thought or deliberate attention. It is often the subtle language of the universe speaking to you. Life has a mysterious way of communicating through signs, coincidences, and moments that feel almost too perfect to be random. You might hear a song that reminds you of her at the exact moment you are thinking of her, or stumble across a place that brings back memories you didn't even know were still lingering. Sometimes it is in the fleeting, quiet moments. A glance at a photograph, a phrase overheard in a conversation, a gentle whisper of of intuition that pulls your mind toward her. These are not accidents. These are small, deliberate nudges from the universe, designed to make you notice, reflect, and awaken to something that is unfolding within you. And often, these signs are layered, complex, and deeply personal, carrying messages that you may not fully understand until much later, when the puzzle pieces of your heart and mind finally come together. The beauty of these signs lies in their subtlety. They are never forceful or loud. The universe rarely shouts. It whispers. It whispers in ways that feel like coincidence, but are in reality carefully orchestrated moments of insight. Perhaps it is the timing of a thought, arriving just when you feel lost, lonely, or uncertain. Perhaps it is a memory that resurfaces during a quiet evening, making you pause and consider why it matters so much. When a woman lingers in your mind repeatedly, the universe is using her as a channel, a conduit through which it communicates lessons, reminders, and sometimes warnings. Every repetition, every memory that refuses to fade is a signpost pointing to something deeper, a truth about your emotions, a path you are meant to notice, or an understanding about yourself that you have yet to embrace. What makes these signs so profound is the way they intertwine with the rhythms of your life. They do not exist in isolation. They intersect with your emotions, your experiences, and your decisions. You might find that thinking of her coincides with moments of clarity, inspiration, or even confusion, and that juxtaposition is intentional. It is the universe's way of asking you to pay attention, to engage with the messages being delivered, and to recognize that your inner world is constantly in conversation with the outer world. And sometimes these signs are gentle challenges, asking you to confront what you have been avoiding, emotions left unresolved, desires left unspoken, or truths about yourself that you have tried to ignore. They are invitations to step into awareness, to notice the patterns in your thoughts, and to understand that the mind's fixation is rarely arbitrary, but often deeply meaningful. The magic of these signs is also in their timing. They rarely come when you demand clarity or certainty. Instead, they arrive when you are ready to notice them, when your heart and mind are aligned enough to receive the subtle guidance being offered. Each time her memory surfaces, it is as if the universe is saying, observe, reflect, learn. It is less about the woman herself and more about the lessons, awakenings, and growth that her presence triggers in your consciousness. Over time, you begin to realize that these signs are part of a delicate orchestration, a language that communicates not in words, but in feelings, synchronicities, and intuition, encouraging you to trust your own perception and listen to the messages your heart has always been trying to convey. When a woman stays on your mind, the first step is not to act, not to judge, and not to push the thought away, but simply to be aware. Awareness is the key that transforms a fleeting feeling into meaningful insight. Most people overlook this because they are so accustomed to treating recurring thoughts as distractions, nuisances that must be silenced. But in reality, awareness is a profound form of listening, not to her, not even entirely to yourself, but to the delicate conversation happening between your mind, your heart, and the universe. It is in this space of conscious noticing that you begin to see the patterns, the lessons, and the truths that have been quietly shaping your inner world. Awareness allows you to step back from the rush of emotions, the pull of desire, and the swirl of memories, and instead observe them without judgment, almost like watching a river flow, noticing the currents, the depth, and the subtle changes in direction. It is here in this quiet observation that the universe's messages become clear, where the lingering presence in your mind transforms from a random thought into a signpost of insight and reflection. The power of awareness also lies in its ability to connect you to your intuition. When you stop resisting and start noticing, you begin to understand that your mind is not merely recalling images or emotions, it is trying to communicate. Each thought, each memory, each fleeting emotion carries information about your desires, your fears, your unspoken needs, and your untapped potential. You start to recognize patterns. Perhaps her presence arises when you feel uncertain about a decision, or perhaps it emerges when you long for qualities that you admire but have yet to nurture within yourself. By practicing awareness, you create a space where these patterns can emerge clearly, without distortion from impulsive reactions or overthinking. You learn to distinguish between passing infatuation and deeper resonance, between what is a reflection of your own inner longing and what might truly be a message meant to guide you. Awareness also deepens your emotional intelligence. When you become conscious of why her image stays with you, you start to see your emotions not as chaotic forces to suppress, but as teachers to listen to. Each feeling of longing, each twinge of confusion or nostalgia becomes a doorway into understanding the subtleties of your own heart. You notice how your mind reacts to joy, to regret, to hope, and to fear. And through this noticing, you gain insight into what you truly value and what your soul is quietly yearning for. The simple act of awareness can transform the way you experience life. It makes you more present, more attuned, and more receptive to the signs, people, and opportunities around you. You begin to understand that the universe is rarely silent. It speaks constantly, but it requires your full attention to hear its whispers. Finally, the power of awareness lies in the freedom it creates. Once you are aware, you are no longer controlled by unconscious patterns or fleeting thoughts. You can observe without attachment, without judgment, and without panic. Awareness allows you to hold the thoughts and emotions gently, to see them as temporary visitors with valuable messages, and to engage with them consciously rather than reactively. You realize that her lingering presence is not a trap or an obsession, but a mirror reflecting the deepest parts of yourself, a compass pointing toward the growth, clarity, and self-understanding that you have always needed. When a woman stays on your mind, it often stirs more than just thoughts. It awakens emotions you may not have fully acknowledged or even understood. At first, these feelings can be confusing, almost overwhelming, because they are rarely simple. You may feel longing, nostalgia, sadness, or even frustration. And sometimes all of these emotions appear together in a way that makes you question why your mind cannot let go. But each of these emotions carries a message, a subtle signal from your heart and soul about what you truly need, what you have lost, or what you are searching for in life. Understanding your emotions requires patience and self-compassion, a willingness to sit with discomfort rather than avoid it. It requires observing the ebb and flow of your feelings without judgment, noticing when your mind drifts toward her, and asking yourself not why it happens, but what it is trying to reveal about you. The emotions you feel are never random. They are your internal compass, pointing toward desires, values, and unresolved aspects of your own heart that need recognition. These emotions often act as mirrors, reflecting parts of yourself you may have neglected or suppressed. Perhaps her presence evokes a longing for connection, intimacy, or understanding that you have denied yourself. Perhaps it brings up memories of vulnerability, of risks not taken, of words left unsaid. The emotions you experience are a way for your subconscious to communicate with your conscious mind, revealing truths that are difficult to access through logic alone. When you take the time to understand them, to name them, and to explore them, you begin to see patterns in your inner life. patterns of desire, patterns of attachment, patterns of what makes you feel alive or incomplete. You begin to realize that your fascination with her is not just about who she is, but about who you are becoming and what you are willing to confront in order to grow. Emotions also serve as guides to clarity. When you feel restless thinking about her, it can be a sign of unresolved longing, unexpressed admiration, or unmet emotional needs. When you feel joy or peace, it can indicate that her presence resonates with qualities you wish to cultivate within yourself. Understanding your emotions requires tuning into these signals with honesty and openness. It requires asking yourself questions that are sometimes uncomfortable. What does her presence awaken in me? Why do I continue to think of her? What am I really seeking when my mind drifts toward her? Each answer, even if it is unclear at first, is a step toward deeper self-awareness and emotional maturity. The process of understanding your emotions is not linear. There will be moments of clarity and moments of confusion, moments of peace and moments of turbulence. And yet it is precisely this process, the patient, conscious engagement with your feelings, that allows the lingering presence in your mind to transform from a source of distraction into a source of insight. Each emotion, no matter how fleeting or intense, carries the potential to teach you something profound about your own heart, your values, and your desires. By learning to understand your emotions, you begin to see her presence not as an intrusion, but as a doorway into the hidden chambers of your inner life, a reminder that your feelings are powerful teachers guiding you towards self-awareness, authenticity, and deeper understanding of the love and connection you truly seek. When a woman stays on your mind, it is not enough to simply notice her presence or reflect on your emotions. You are being given an invitation to act, to make choices, and to find clarity in the midst of uncertainty. The universe rarely speaks in commands. It offers subtle guidance, moments of reflection, and recurring signs. But it is up to you to respond consciously. Taking action does not necessarily mean pursuing a relationship or expressing feelings immediately. It often begins with small, intentional steps toward understanding yourself and your desires more deeply. It can be as simple as allowing yourself to journal your thoughts, to reflect quietly on what her presence teaches you, or to consciously observe the patterns in your mind without judgment. These acts of awareness, though seemingly small, are the foundation for clarity. They are the bridge between lingering thoughts and meaningful insight, between restless emotions and purposeful direction. Finding clarity also requires courage. It requires the courage to look honestly at what you want, what you fear, and what you may be avoiding. When her image returns repeatedly, it is a signal that something important in your emotional landscape needs attention. Perhaps it is a desire that has been buried, an unspoken feeling, or a dream that you have been hesitant to pursue. By facing these truths, even when they are uncomfortable, you create space for understanding and decision-making. The universe has a way of forcing us to confront what we cannot ignore, to reveal the parts of ourselves that have been dormant or suppressed. Each thought of her is an opportunity to ask yourself meaningful questions. What am I truly seeking? What am I afraid of admitting? What actions align with my authentic self? Through these questions, you begin to untangle the web of emotions and thoughts, and a path toward clarity starts to emerge. Action also means embracing intentional choices in your life. When her presence lingers, it is not always about her. It is about what her image awakens within you. It may be courage, self-respect, passion, or even forgiveness. By acting on these awakenings, you transform the energy of your thoughts into meaningful growth. Perhaps you take steps to express feelings you have kept hidden, or perhaps you make decisions that honor your own emotional needs and boundaries. Perhaps you simply allow yourself to let go of what is no longer serving you, creating space for clarity and peace. In every instance, the act of responding consciously rather than reacting unconsciously is a profound form of empowerment. It is a way of reclaiming your mind, your heart, and your life from the restless cycles of attachment, obsession, or uncertainty. Ultimately, taking action and finding clarity is about aligning your inner world with your outer choices. It is about turning lingering thoughts into guidance, recurring emotions into lessons, and uncertainty into conscious decisions. Each time her image appears in your mind, it is an opportunity to act, not impulsively, but with awareness and intention, to honor your feelings and understand what they reveal about your values, desires, and path forward. The universe is offering you a chance to transform mental restlessness into clarity, emotional turbulence into insight, and fleeting attraction into meaningful understanding. When you respond to these signals with conscious choice, you begin to see the deeper purpose behind her presence, and your thoughts, emotions, and actions start to align in ways that bring not only understanding, but a sense of empowerment and direction.